I figured since it's Wednesday and I haven't really uploaded anything, and I said Wednesday was going to be my upload date, that I would do a Wednesday upload. Um, I'm currently honestly watching a video by Amberlyn Reid. I know, guilty pleasure, come for me in the comments if you want to. But she tagged every viewer as a quarantine tag, so here we go. I have a list of questions that I wrote down, for the quarantine questions that she tagged everyone in. First off, what do you miss the most about before quarantine? I would say just being able to leave the house when I wanted to. I actually can't just leave the house at will most of the time. I can't drive a car, but being able to just go somewhere for the heck of it, like even the park is desolate right now. Um, what what do you want to do when it's over? Well, honestly, I think hopefully by the time it's over, I will have my master's degree, and I'm thinking that I'll start applying for jobs. Hopefully that'll be easier. Many of the things that I am doing or that I've applied to do, um, as of right now, are not taking place because of COVID. For example, I had applied for an internship, and I just got a response back that they are not doing their internship program because of COVID. So hopefully that will open up opportunities for me, that just aren't here right now in terms of building my career. Um, so something you want to achieve during quarantine. I'm learning Italian right now. I really suck at it. I'm not very good at all. I actually have learned, according to Duolingo, over 800 words, but I don't know. I decided to learn Italian on a whim. My grandfather, who passed away last year, was Italian. His family was he was a first generation Italian immigrant, and then of course he met my grandmother, and they had my father, and but Italian culture was something that was very very prevalent in my home. My grandfather would always play Italian Christmas carols for us every year at Christmas time. We had a lot of Italian food, and not just spaghetti, but Italian cookies. We had Shawlies, and which are like chocolate cookies, and the pizzles, and I miss him very much. He was a wedding singer. Little known fact to my grandpa. I really miss him right now, but I'm telling you all about him. He was a really, really, he was a very interesting man. He was very, very stern, very set in his ways, very stoic, but he had a very good heart. I remember he used to take me out and get me root beer floats, and he would drive me in the car, and we'd get root beer floats. That's like the memory that comes to mind. That and watching The Honeymooners and I Love Lucy with him a lot. He really, really liked those shows. Um, he really loved just movies and TV shows. I remember, that was always playing in the background. And little things like he never really knew much about his own family. He was an Italian immigrant. He was the only one. My grandfather was the only one not born in the U.S. At least to my understanding. And his parents all spoke Italian, but they didn't speak much English. My grandfather could say "Apro la porta," which means open the door, and his parents could say, "You're talking so loud, you're gonna break the window," which evidently is from some show that was on back in the day. I don't really know. But anyways, as a way to memorialize my grandfather and kind of keep that culture alive, I'd like to learn Italian. That boils down to also where would I go. Lord willing, again, I'll go to some job interviews, and then maybe I'll finally get to go to Europe. I've always wanted to go to Europe. I've always wanted to go to Italy and London. The reason that I haven't ever is partially due to my anxiety and my PTSD. That will be brought up in further discussions, I'm sure, for those of you who are viewing this. What non-technology thing do you miss? I'm gonna be a basic white bitch and say Starbucks. I really miss Starbucks. I miss just little comforts like that. I miss being able to go get Starbucks. I miss being able to, just do little things with my family. We are the kind of family that spends time together by going out to eat and going out to do things. So definitely that is a big thing. I probably would have gone to at least one concert this past summer, and they're all canceled. But I do think it's cool that Facebook and Twitch are streaming concerts. I got to see Sublime Rome in concert on Facebook Live, which was really neat. I've always really liked Sublime, so that was kind of cool. My current mood, I would say I'm bored. I'm really bored. Part of the reason I'm doing this is because I have a mountain of things to do, and I don't like talking to people, so this is one of my last things to do. I'm running out of stuff to do. I'm bored. I would love to have something to do. This morning I got to see my best friend and her daughter and her son on FaceTime, and that was great because kind of brought me something new to do. It's also pretty cool to see my best friend and her family. I miss them all terribly, and I've not even met her children as of right now. We actually knew each other in high school, and so I didn't know her when she had her son. I didn't live in North Carolina anymore. I moved to upstate New York the year after I graduated. If I had my way at the time, I would have stayed there, but unfortunately, I didn't really have any place to go. So we moved up here, and that's where I've been. So I haven't met Christopher, and I haven't met Paisley because Paisley's a little tiny baby. But maybe someday. As far as things that are silver linings, I would say for me, a big silver lining is just getting things checked off my bucket list that I probably wouldn't have. Like, for example, learning Italian or attempting to learn Italian. If any of you know any other apps than Duolingo, please, please leave them in the comments. Same with any of you who want to follow me on Duolingo. My name is Keely Messino. Go ahead and follow me. I will follow you back, and we can be Duolingo friends. Just the thing that's the hardest right now, the hardest thing right now, I think, is the fact that I don't really have as many opportunities. Like I said, I think that's the toughest thing, just not having the opportunities I wish I had right now. I had applied for an internship with a organization that I'm not going to name in the Boston area. And I was doing it remotely. Well, the organization shut down due to the pandemic, and so there went my internship. Same with a couple of the other internships I've applied for. They aren't doing things because of COVID, or their application was due in July and then they're not doing things till September. I graduate in August, so I'd really like to have some actual paid work by then. I've done several internships. So essentially that's the real kick to the pants. I'm sure the rest of the world, including myself, would like to be able to go to a theme park or to a concert they wanted to see, or just to, go to basic everyday things like the way they used to. You know, I miss going to counseling in person. Last week, I had a snafu with my counseling where Holly couldn't see me, I couldn't see her, and then we couldn't hear each other, and not being able to hear each other is kind of an issue. Plus, I get kind of defensive and sarcastic, especially when I'm uncomfortable. So having an absence of that is a problem. Because I could say something and my body language and my face say, well, I'm just angry, or I'm being a smartass right now to try to try to minimize the impact. But instead, she's just hearing my words and she's a little confused or concerned. I think, I think at the end of the day, the quarantine is tough on everybody for different reasons. I think, going from there, another thing that I wish I could have done during this pandemic doesn't have anything to do with the pandemic itself, but my aunt passed away. She had been sick and she died. I miss her every day, and she was an amazing woman, but due to COVID, we can't even say goodbye. I can't say goodbye to her. And because of quarantine. It sucks. I don't know how that makes the rest of the world feel. I don't know if some people are doing church services virtually and things like that, but which I think is a great idea. If you are a churchgoer, I think, or you attend synagogue or temple or anything, I think, keeping that morale, keeping that sense of community is vital, especially in a time like this, because you need that. You need that sense of community and you need that spiritual guidance. I support the virtual services, things like that. But with funerals, you all have to be there to actually partake in the service, and they wouldn't let us, of course, gather. So I wrote her a eulogy, and I really hope that wherever she is right now, she knows that she is loved and she knows about how much I loved her. But I think that's some of the biggest stuff, is just vital things that people need, to attend, whether they be for their health, their well-being, or just because they really need their family, their friends, and their community around them. I think that's the thing that is the worst about this quarantine, that we're not allowed to have that. So for those of you wondering, the part of the state where I live, part of New York that I live in, we are currently in stage 1. Downstate, toward the city in Staten Island, they're not at any stage right now. They're being reevaluated next month, and I really hope that things get better for downstate as well. I think silver linings to this, you can find a silver lining in anything if you try hard enough. But some days are tougher than others. And for anyone who managed to get to this point in the video, thanks, and I'll tag all of you in the quarantine tag. Thanks.